Good evening, ladies and gents. Welcome back to the channel. Mantalk Productions here. Good evening. Yeah, we are at Cardiff this evening. We're going to be doing an IFR flight from Cardiff. It's going to be in the night up to Belfast. So here you can see we are on Plan G. We're on the ground at Cardiff on VATSIM, and we've got full ATC from Cardiff up across Wales, across Anglesey, out over the Isle of Man and down into Belfast. Flight time today is about 2 hours, so we're going to get buckled in, and I will cut out some of the cruise, obviously, to make the video a little bit shorter for you folks. But here we are. I've tried this flight once before, and I've got a few teething issues sorted, so we shouldn't have any issues. Things should go a bit smoother today. So here we are connected to VATSIM with our call sign. Let's just begin the video by plotting in our route. This is EGAA, that's IFR. Departure time is going to be 8, 9, 10. Let's go for 2045. Again, flight time about an hour 50. We have full fuel tanks, so that's about 3 hours at least. But that's all the ATC really needs to know about. And cruise is going to be 10,000. Can't really go much above 10,000 for an extended period of time. Let's give it about 140 knots actually. Okay, so let's plot in our, so it's EGF, Brecon Beacons, Isle of Man, EGAA. So it's EGFF, Brecon Beacon, Isle of Man, and let's see someone. Okay, sorry, someone just texted me. Let's see, night IFR. Okay, that looks good. Let's file that flight plan. Okay, so we have Cardiff ATIS and Cardiff Approach. We don't have a tower on, so we're just going to be talking to Approach, and then he's probably going to hand us off to a potential London controller as we cruise up. And then we'll go probably over to Scottish Control, or he might hand us off to Unicom in between here if he's not. Well, there's two of them. There's Central and someone else, so we'll see. We'll see. Okay. So without much further ado, let's get stuck into the... I have gone through the before entering cabin checklist, and I've done a walk around, so let's start here. Pre-flight, that is complete. Passengers have been briefed. Seatbelts, shoulder harnesses are on. Flaps are up. Radios are off. Circuit breakers, just double check that they're in. Yep, they all look okay. All electrical switches are off, except for my lights, obviously. Autopilot off. Rotating beacon, let's put that on. That is the beacon is rotating. Now, if I go to my outside view, do I see that? Do I actually see that rotating? Well, I see. Okay, so it's not dynamic lighting yet, but autopilot is off. Rotating beacon. Carb heat off. Okay, I'm gonna have to be dealing with carb heat this evening because it's winter now. Fuel selectors on the desired tank. Let's go, where are my fuel selectors? It is going to be down here. So, yes, left is going to be the first one. And then right. And then let's just see, how do I change? It's been a while since I've flown this actually. That is my landing gear switch. Don't want to touch that. But this is the auxiliary fuel tanks. Tank selector. That's the tank selector. I want to know. See, is it on the floor? It's kind of hard in the nighttime to see. It's not going to be down on the right hand side. It's always a good thing to get these things sorted before you actually. It's not some stupid thing like it's on the roof or something. Nope. Okay, let's just have a refresh here. We've got cockpit heat, windshield defroster, cabin vent, and cabin vent. Okay, and those are the those are the breakers for the autopilot. Okay, so we've got master switch, circuit breakers, etc. Okay. So those are the two main fuel tanks, of course, which are both full, and then both of our auxiliary fuel tanks are full as well. But I seem to remember there was a switch to switch from filling, from burning the external tanks first or the internal tanks. I have a feeling once we get in the air, it will actually start showing us in cruise what exactly we're burning. But as long as we're on the left-hand tank, I'm not too worried at this point. So, good thing we did this checklist here. And then the gear switch is down. Yes, let's just make sure that's down. Okay, engine starting. So I'm going to actually start the engine before I turn on the avionics and contact tower. So I'm going to warm up the engine beforehand. So throttle cracked. And by throttle cracked, they usually mean about 20 to 25% throttle. Mixture is rich, prop is full, master switch is on. Check the gear lights that are green. Yeah, well, I mean, down and locked is lit, so I'm going to take that as a good omen. Fuel pump on and check the pressure. Okay, so let's just zoom in here. We've got the fuel pressure here. 0 psi, so let's pop the, no, that's the pitot heat. Well, actually that can go on at this point as well. Fuel pump, 1 psi, 4 pounds per square inch. Okay, that's good. That's on, that's working. Okay, let's turn that off, and that's going to drop. Yeah, so now that we've turned that off, that's going to drop. Engine, prime. Okay, so we are under, I'd say under 10 degrees. Oh, we're 9 degrees Celsius. That's actually not too bad. So let's go with 3 primes of the engine. Screw that back. And then engine prime, mags to both. Let's turn the mags to both. And then shout clear prop out the window. Make sure that no one's around. And then press engage. And we have a good start. Aren't you all proud of me? Okay, let's watch T's and P's. Oil pressure is coming up. Oil pressure is rising. That is probably the most important thing. Oil pressure is in the green. That is very important. Oil temperature, we don't care too much about at the moment because we know it's going to be cold. Let's just make sure that we're always idling at 1,000 RPM, and let's just lean out the mixture to about 75% for ground operations. So fuel pressure looks good. Fuel pressure is, oil pressure is still holding in the green. That's good. Amps are good. We're getting some good amps off the engine, and the oil temperature has not risen enough yet for us to really worry. So let's cork up the window and let's turn on our headset so that we can actually hear ourselves think. Now it's time for the avionics master. Yep, so we went through those things. We checked the oil pressure, we checked the ammeter, we checked the mixture, avionics going on. Okay, so let's just turn on our radio stacks here, and let's just make sure that's, let's do a test. Those nav 1s, nav 2 are on. Now, there's a certain thing about the Comanche without the GTN 750. There's a certain way of tuning NDBs, which it's nav 1 or DME. Okay, so the DME is actually within active frequency or DME. So what we have to do, I can't remember, nav 1 ident. See, that changed there. That's the VOR that we need, because I've tried this before. So DME function frequency. Okay, so that's the DME frequency. That's not the DME frequency though. Hold frequency, DME function hold, DME function time to station, DME function ground speed, DME function distance, DME function frequency. Okay, but how do we know it's in the DME mode or in the nav1 mode? That's what I want to know. I can't quite remember. And that's going to bug me because I can't quite remember. While I'm trying to figure out my life here, know the oil temperature. Oh, okay, now it's registering at 60 and climbing 61. Okay, well we'll just let it chill there for a bit more. So active recall, I'm not sure what that meant. Oh. Well, okay, so that's nav 2, that's nav 2, that's nav 1, that's com 1. Just re-familiarizing myself with this here. I can't quite remember how you change it from... How you change it. Hold, function frequency. The frequency. You see now? The DME frequency. DME distance. See, the distance from the DME, the distance is going to be helpful because when we tune Cardiff 388.5, we need to be 4 DME or 4 distance, 4 nautical miles from Cardiff CDF before we turn right on the SID, which I'm sure he's going to give us because he tried to give it to me last time. So, again, this is going to be interesting. So, distance. How do we change? How do we change that? Pull up. Ah. What does that mean? Oh, okay, no. Okay, I'm not going to be fully clued into that, I'm afraid. That is... I remember, it was a while ago. I remember how that works. Well, I remember using it, but I can't remember exactly how it works. Anyway. Fuel pump. Let's turn on the lights. Rotating beacon, strobe light. Let's keep the strobe light off until we get on to... Okay, how's our oil temperature? Oil temperature's climbing, that's good. And because the engine's warmed up, the revs have gone up ever so slightly, so let's just bring that down to about 1,000. So, let's make contact with with radar, and hope he hasn't gone offline. Okay, right, there's me to EGAA. Okay, so let's go Cardiff ATIS first. So let's go 132.47. What? St. Athan Airport? What? Cardiff. Okay, it said Cardiff. Oh, there we go, just updated. Right. Information Quebec, wind, viz, greater than 20 miles, sky condition clouds, 3,400, 4,000 broken, temperature 9, dew point 6, altimeter. Okay, that's not going to give me a proper, so that QNH is going to be 1006. Runway 30. Okay, that's cool. That'll do the job. Thank you. Right, okay. Cardiff approach, 125.85. 125, 888.85. Bam. And while we're on him, let's just pull up a potential London control is 132.6, because we know he's going to hand us off to someone, so it might be him. So let's tune him in readiness. Okay, so that's those comms. Let's just go to The first VOR is Brecon Beacon that we're going to, but we're going to be doing a radial, so we're going to intercept the radial for that, and that's 117.45, and you can see that's in nav1, and I have set the, oh no, wrong, that's me, but that's the wrong thing. The radial is 033 inbound to Brecon Beacon, so that is why this needs to be set to 033, which is 33 degrees, and the heading selector needs to be set to 298, which is the outbound. 295678. Correction. There we go. Okay, so we're just going to head outbound and then attack that and pick up that radial. Okay, without using any more fuel idling on the ground, let's contact the approach controller. He's Cardiff approach. We are, let's just write this down just because it's been a long day, Golf Alpha Romeo X-ray Golf. Okay. Cardiff approach, good evening, Golf Alpha Romeo X-ray Golf. Okay, I did not sorry radar, I didn't quite get your audio. I think I have now set my sound settings correctly. Could you just say again for Golf X-ray Golf?
Yeah, Golf X-ray Golf, I said pass your message.
Thanks. Golf X-ray Golf is Piper Comanche, requesting IFR clearance as filed. Information Quebec, QNH 1006.
Golf X-ray Golf, you're cleared to Isle of Man on a Brecon 1 Alpha departure. Initial altitude is 6,000 feet and squawk 3653.
That is cleared to destination. Correction, did you say Belfast or Isle of Man there for Golf X-ray Golf?
You are correct. I did say Isle of Man and I did mean Belfast. I was reading your flight plan at the same time as talking to you.
No worries. So that's cleared to destination as filed. Brecon 1 Alpha departure, initial climb 6,000 feet, and squawk 3653 Golf X-ray Golf.
Golf X-ray Golf, feedback is correct and report ready for taxi to the active.
We'll report ready for taxi, Golf X-ray Golf, thanks. Okay, so he's given me our clearance. He's given us an initial climb to 6,000 feet on the QNH of 1006, and he's given us a squawk, which is going down in this transponder here. That's 3653. So let's go 3, 6, 5, and 3, and just make sure that the transponder mode is on alt, which means it's reporting to him, and we should then squawk mode Charlie as soon as we take off. Or we should actually squawk mode Charlie as soon as we get onto the runway threshold, ready for takeoff. So we were all set up. We pre-set up. We were expecting Brecon 1 Alpha, and as you heard, he gave us Brecon 1 Alpha, so we know what to expect there. And hopefully this will not go horribly wrong. So there's nothing else other. Okay. There's nothing else to do other than just double check our T's and P's. Temperatures and pressures all look good. Pressures, temps, oil temp is now coming up. And cylinder head temperature is looking good as well. Was that a Vidra?
Wizz Air 137.
Oh, Wizz Air,
Good evening.
okay.
Cleared ILS approach runway 27, descent altitude 2,500 feet.
Oh, there he is. Oh, it's an A321 inbound.
ILS approach runway 27, descent 2,500.
He's coming into Bristol, though. I didn't know that Cardiff approach and departure.
137, turn left heading 245 degrees.
Let's just turn on my track IR. There we go.
Left heading 245 with 137.
While I'm in cruise, I'm going to definitely look up the the correct usage of the DME system in the Comanche, because it's been a while. As you saw earlier on, I didn't quite get that done. Okay, so we are actually just past our takeoff time, so we're actually a little bit behind schedule. Let's just double check what we said. Yeah, I said 1:45, and so I'm about 5 minutes late. As you can see on, well, yeah, 5-6 minutes late. So let's get ready for taxi. Golf X-Ray Golf, ready for taxi.
Golf X-Ray Golf, taxi to Holding Point Hotel. Runway 30, QNH is 1006.
Taxi hotel and hold for runway 30, QNH 1006, Golf X-Ray Golf. Okay, off with the brakes, and you'll see the aircraft will start to move forward. Now we're in the taxi phase. I'm going to just give us 1 notch of flaps. We have full fuel on board, so we will have 1 notch of flaps this evening. Not that it's imperative that we have them, but it's always nice to have them. Okay, radios are on. Transponder was on out. We did double check that. That's on out. Heading indicator was set to 298. Landing gear is green. Radios ATIS. We heard the ATIS parking brake release test on initial roll. So we're just testing our brakes there. They worked. Excellent. Okay, let's go run up. We'll do the run up check when we get to the hold. It's a quiet night, so he should be okay. Okay, he should be okay with letting me test at the hold. It's a quiet night, like I say. And there is the runway hold line.
Golf X-Ray Golf with backtrack, taxi onto runway 30 before ready for departure.
Cleared backtrack for runway 30. Actually, we don't really need a backtrack because we should be light enough. Do you mind if I just sit here for a couple of minutes and do a run-up check?
No problem at all. Golf X-Ray, call ready for departure.
We'll call ready for departure, Golf X-Ray Golf, thanks. Okay, so we got clearance for a run-up. So, brakes hold, we are holding. Fuel quantity check. Excellent on all fuel tanks. Fuel selectors, desired tank. Yeah, we've got fuel selector is on the 30 gallons. We don't actually see... I don't actually see that yet, but we will. Mixture, set. Let's go full mixture. Throttle 2000 RPM. So let's bring that up to...
Sorry, say again for EC54 Romeo Bravo. Yeah, EC54
2000 RPM, set, and holding. Okay, instruments, check. Oil pressure, oil temp. Let's just watch our T's and P's. Oil pressure's holding good. Fuel pressure's holding good. Okay, so let's do a mag check. Let's go to the right mag. There should be a mag drop, as you saw just there. Going back to both.
With 137, you've gone through the ILS. I will vector you around again for runway 27.
Back to both. Let's just check the mags and cycle the prop 1 to 3 times.
Heading to 245, waiting for the construction.
Comes back up to 2000.
137, I did clear your ILS approach, runway 27. I will give you vectors back to the
Manifold
ILS.
pressure is doing what it should as well.
Left heading 090.
And for the third one, let's pull the propeller right the way out and just watch it idling around 1200, 1300, and then finally back up smoothly to 2000. So that is a good engine. That's a good healthy engine. I'm confident with that engine.
Not right.
But if it gets cold, and more importantly, if it gets cold and wet, then we're going to have carb ice issues. So we'll have to watch out for that on takeoff. Okay, so we are good to go. Let's just check our strobe. We'll hit the strobe as soon as we go on the threshold, but we should be good. Let's just make sure pitot cover is off. Pitot heat is on. Okay. Golf X-Ray Golf ready for takeoff.
Golf X-Ray Golf, surface wind is 350 degrees, 9 knots, runway 30, clear takeoff.
Clear takeoff, runway 30, Golf X-Ray Golf. Okay, so he's given us that clearance. We are now moving across the runway hold line, and while we do that, we're going to turn on the strobe, which is that one there, and let's just bring in that there. So we should be strobing away. Yep. Looks good, smells good, feels good. Good to go.
EC 54 Romeo Bravo, further left,
Okay.
turn 130.
I sound really confident right now, but actually it could all easily go wrong. So it went wrong last time. So okay, there's my taxi turn, and we will just take a sip of tea. Double check the winds before we run up the throttle. Oh, today I got a present. My a friend of mine gave me a massive new mug with a Lancaster bomber on it, so I'm really happy about that. It's a
EC 54 Romeo
beautiful
Bravo, I'm
mug.
going to give you a long approach so I can get Wizz Air 137 in before you.
So he's controlling Bristol, some Bristol people. Okay, so what did I say I was going to do? What did I say I was going to do?
EC 54 Romeo Bravo,
Completely forgot now.
heading now.
I started talking about my mug. Started talking about my tea mug, and then I completely forgot. Okay, controls free and correct. Fuel selector, desired tank, fuel pump is
Wizz Air 137,
on.
turn left heading
Car
045
Pete is
degrees.
off. Mixture is rich. Prop is set. Engine gauge is checked. Engine gauge is checked. Yeah. Trim tab is neutral. Flap set. Door latched.
2,500 feet.
Excellent.
QNH is 1006.
Okay, throttle full. Rotated 85. Oh, I was going to check the winds. No matter.
Easy 54 Romeo Bravo.
I can feel the winds.
QNH is 1006. 1006.
Oh, they are stiff winds actually. And we are up. Up with the gear. 1,000 feet of climb rate. Let's just nose down a little bit and go flaps up. And trim a little bit. Let's hold the runway heading, but we know we've got a crosswind, so we don't mind being just to the right of desired track.
Golf X-ray Golf, squawk mode Charlie.
Ah, I knew I would forget that. There we go. Okay. Climb power.
Golf X-ray Golf, UNI radar identified. Continue climb altitude 6,000 feet.
Continue climb altitude 6,000 feet. Golf X-ray Golf, thanks. Okay, so he's given us continue climb. So what I did just there is I went back to cruise power. I went 75% throttle, mixture, and RPM. So that takes the aircraft. So I'm just trimming.
137, turn left heading 300
Just trimming.
degrees, close the localizer when established, descend with the glide.
And now we don't need the now we don't need the landing lights anymore, but we'll leave the rest on.
Yeah, with 137. Turn
Climbing the
left
1,000
heading
feet, that's
300
fine by
degrees,
now.
close
We
the localizer and descend with the glide.
let's just get autopilot on. Okay, heading mode, and then we will just trim. Okay, so this autopilot is not like a Cessna autopilot. Let's just knock a few. This is not like a Cessna autopilot. You've got your heading, and then you control your altitude, your climb rate by your trim, and I can see the VOR radial starting to come in. So what we're going to do is we're going to move 45 degrees intercept to that radial. You can see we're pretty much 90 degrees on now, but we're moving 45 just to and continue with that trimming.
Romeo.
See, we're flattening out.
Oh, crap. Easy 54 Romeo Bravo, you called me out there. Turn the right heading 180 degrees.
180 degrees, easy 54 Romeo.
And we're actually going to continue with our heading hold indicator.
With 137, continue. I've given you...
Initially, we won't go straight
I've
to...
given you instructions to close the localizer. When established, descend on the glide path.
We won't go straight to nav hold, because nav hold is it's the aircraft starts to search for the radial.
Report final runway 27.
let's just continue to close that that rate of attacking the radial there. So we're just almost on it. We'll just start kissing the edge of the radial, and then...
Easy 54 Romeo Bravo, continue right turn heading 240 degrees.
Continue the right turn, 240, easy 54 Romeo.
Okay, we're almost on that radial now, and we're close to turning onto it anyway, so we're looking really good. Climbed through 3,000 feet.
SRP runway 27 with 137.
With 137, the surface wind is 350 degrees 11 knots, runway 27 clear to land.
So close to being on that radial now.
27 with 137.
So close to being on that radial. And you know what? I'm gonna call that... Who is texting me? Okay. And bam, I'm gonna call that the radial, and heading 033. Okay, so now that is our heading set. We're coming up to 4,000 feet.
Easy 54 Romeo Bravo, you're cleared ILS approach runway 27, report final runway 27.
And the wind is pretty much dead on us at the moment, so yeah, we've got 19 knot, pretty much dead on us, so we don't have to worry too much. Climbing up through 4,000 feet now. Yeah, you can see us there. We're pretty much dead on. Holding not above 6,000 feet until we get to Brecon Beacon, so yeah, do not climb above 6,000 until instructed by ATC. We're slightly off that radial. It shows us being slightly off that radial, and you can see the needle is ever so slightly just off, but we'll compensate for that just by knocking in a few extra degrees to the left to just to kind of gradually smidgen our way onto that radial. Smidgen, that's a good word, smidgen. Okay, let's just do a check around the cockpit. We are, see, 29 gallons in the left tank and 29 in the right. So weirdly, why are they draining from both tanks when I have the fuel selector? I'm pretty sure that's the fuel selector for... That's the fuel selector. He's gonna contact me, isn't he? It's gonna be in some obscure place that I haven't seen yet. That is the emergency gear lever handle. It's gonna be in some obscure place that I can't even see because it's dark. And the only way I could probably do is by... See, there's 28 gallons on both sides, which means that it's draining equally on both sides. Let's just continue to keep that turn up. That is a little bit concerning. I mean, I don't have to worry about the fuel at the moment because I've got so much of it, but I really do, in the cruise at least, need to make sure I know where I'm draining the fuel from. Rudder trim, no, it's fine. It's just, oh, by the way, I could neutralize the... Nope. There we go. I could bring the gear. I forgot to do that because this certain kind of aircraft. Okay, climbing up 900 feet to go. Don't want to blow through this altitude. He's a nice controller. I don't want to screw him off. Okay, but we're holding quite well. Well, we're doing what the SID shows. Just attack.
Golf X-ray Golf, continue climb to cruise.
Continue climb up to 10,000 feet for Golf X-ray Golf. Thanks. Okay. He's given us further climb. So let's just keep that ascent, that speed of ascent going. So we're up through 5,000 feet. I'm just going to lay in a little bit more throttle now. In the climbs, it's going to go up to about 95%, 93% throttle roughly. That's just going to help us a little bit as we climb. Yeah, you can see we're up to 1,000 feet per minute again. Coming up through 6,000.
Approach, good evening, ED2431, Bristol requesting IFR clearance to Edinburgh.
So we're still on this radial. We do not have a DME to the until there we go. Okay, that's how it works.
You're clear to Edinburgh on a Brecon 1 X-ray.
Yeah, I know, I remember that. That's really easy. So we've got the frequency set. So that's the DME function of the... That's the DME function of the
Clear to Edinburgh.
VOR, not the ADF. I thought that... I thought it was ADF I was trying to... It's probably... Yeah, I bet you. Yeah. Yeah, it's my ADF.
2431, be back
Duh.
is correct. Report ready for push.
Silly me, that was my ADF. I thought my ADF was built into nav2. I do apologise for that time I wasted earlier on in trying to sort that out. You were probably shouting at me. So, yeah, so that is just... That's how you find the distance. So that's the distance to Brecon Beacon VOR. So I know I'm on course, and I know I'm 7 nautical miles away from that turn. And then if I want to know my DME, my distance to a DME, that's done in the ADF. So I apologise about that. That was a bit... yeah, you learn as you go. This all the fun of flight sim. So next time, I'll know that for next time. Okay, so I'm coming inbound to the VOR. I know that my next turn to the Isle of Man is 150 nautical mile leg, so that's 112.2. Let's set that in standby. 112.2, and then whenever we want to, we just hit that and go over and swap it into the active. Oh, I can see I just blew onto the left-hand side of the radial there. Let's just come to the right slightly. Got some nice stars and clouds. I know I'm going to most likely, yeah, I'm going to most likely be hitting some clouds as I go over Wales, and if I check the outside air temperature, I'm down to 0 degrees, so I'm going to bring in the carb heat to about 15%, just to gradually start heating up the manifold before I actually kill myself, essentially. Okay, so I now push the throttle to 100%, and let's leave the RPM at about 75% on the RPM. Yeah, 70%. Yeah, okay, that's good. And I'm not climbing too much more. Let's just keep that climb going. 3 nautical miles now. So once the change comes, I want to be going onto a heading of 344. And once I'm on a heading of 344, up towards the Isle of Man, I'll probably just be tracking the Brecon Beacon outbound rather than anything else at this point. So no stress there. Now that I'm up through 8,000 feet, I'm going to bring the mixture back. And listen, and I just brought it back a little bit too much. I starved it and then I popped it back in a bit. So that's a dirty man's way of
PC54 Romeo Bravo,
leaning.
welcome to Bristol, vacate right when able, and taxi to stand 3.
Okay, there's 1 nautical mile, so at 1 nautical mile I'm going to pretty much make that change to, what was it, 344? Yeah, there we go. But since I'm going to be having a bit of a crosswind, I'm going to bring that back to 348, like so. And I need to continue climbing. I'm actually going to push the RPM up a little bit more. Bring it up to about 2400 on the RPM, just to give me, oh, not that much climb rate. Dude, I'm okay. Thank you. 1,000 feet per minute is fine. I don't need any more than 1,000 feet per minute at the moment.
Golf X-ray Golf, contact London Central on 127.820.
127.820 for Golf X-ray Golf. Thanks, good evening. 127. Island control 127.8. Okay, 127.825. So
London Control, direct to Skezo, Cyber Area 687.
Okay, set 344 on the radial. The new course heading is 344, and you can see as we leave the VOR, this is going to start coming in line again, and we can actually track the VOR outbound just as easily as we tracked it inbound. And if you have any questions on that, let me know, and I will. Now I'm actually going to go QNH 1013. So I actually just blew through 10,000. Actually, no, I'm not. I'm going to... He hasn't given me standard barometric pressure yet, so... London Control, good evening. Golf Alpha Romeo X-Ray Golf, holding 10,000 feet.
Golf Alpha Romeo X-Ray Golf London Control, hello. Just confirm flight level 100, your final level.
A firm.
Roger, maintain flight level 100.
Maintain flight level 100, Golf X-Ray Golf, thanks. Okay, let's just stop this autopilot from screwing around. Okay, just make sure that I stay on this radial. Okay. Calm down, lady. Calm down. Okay, now I'm going to bring the throttle back. There you go, holding at 1,000. That's good. Or actually, no. Now that he gave me flight level, he gave me flight level 10. I'm now on 1013, so I'm actually going to have to go down. So I'm just going to come off the altitude. And let's just...
Runway 24 Papa, contact London Control 132.6, good evening.
Let's just...
132.6, sorry, no 24 Papa.
Come on, I need to go down, guys. I'm just trying to trim.
London Control, Greenland 779, heavy, flight level 370.
Okay.
Greenland 779, London Control, good evening, maintain flight level 380.
380, Greenland 779, heavy.
Okay, now I'm going to go over to high frequency on the VOR.
London Centre, speedbird 2502 with you, climb to flight level 320 on a 325 heading.
So now I've engaged...
2502 London Control, good evening, climb flight level 380.
So now I've engaged nav hold.
Climb level 380, repeat, sorry. Yep, that's correct, climb flight level 380.
And with nav hold, now my aircraft
Okay,
is going to hold onto that radial outbound to
2502.
Isle of Man. Probably halfway between Isle of Man and, or Brecon Beacon and Isle of Man over Snowdon. I'm going to switch over to the Isle of Man VOR. Let's just make sure that my trim is correct. It's wanting up trim.
2502, resume navigation, direct Pole Hill, Papa Oscar Lima.
Okay. Alright, so there folks is from takeoff
Proceeding
to
direct
cruise.
Papa Oscar Lima, speedbird 2502.
Actually, we could probably pop on the landing lights just for fun, because it looks nice. You can see the high vis. Is my strobe?
Easy 17 Tango Alpha when ready, descend flight level.
Doesn't really look like my
200
strobe is doing
level
anything. Let's turn it on and turn it off again.
However, descend there for level 200 to level bar.
That must be some weird glitch.
Level Octem, Oscar Kilo Tango Echo.
Must be some weird glitch. Oh, I don't know. Well, my strobe is on, so...
Would you be level by Oscar,
Now that we're at cruise, let's just...
Golf X-ray Golf, leaving controlled airspace. Which service do you require?
basic service, Golf X-ray Golf.
Golf X-ray Golf, roger, basic service you have, and stand by for the regional QNH.
Okay, he's going to give me a regional QNH. ...133 knots ground speed, that's good. That's what we wanted. He's handing me off to a basic service, so...
Hello, good evening, Ryan Airport. Yankee, we're descending flight level 200.
But everything's going well, so...
Ryanair 4 Tango Yankee London, control,
yeah,
hello,
you can
landing
see
at 05 right.
Our fuel tanks are draining there.
5 right, we were expecting 5 left.
It's up to you, you can have 5 left if that's what you've got programmed.
Yeah, it saves us rebooting. 5 left will be best.
Okay, it's landing 5 left for you.
Thank you.
Okay folks, so let's just do the cruise. Power has been set, RPM has been set, mixture has been leaned. Fuel pump can now go off. So off with the fuel pump. And fuel pressure. Let's just check the fuel pressure with the fuel pump off.
Shut at 8. Right.
And it seems to be holding at 4 psi, so we should be okay.
Second.
4 pounds per square inch.
8 local.
So that's
5
good.
right.
Next checklist is the landing checklist. So what I'm going to do, guys, is I'm
Golf
going
if you
to...
need it, the West 6 regional QNH 1006 hectopascals.
QNH 1006 for Golf X-ray Golf, thanks. Okay, so he's given me that. Let's just check the temperature. Negative 5 degrees outside, so if we do fly through a cloud, we will need the car heat, so... He sounds a bit far away.
Sierra, Mike Bravo, London, control, good evening, squawk 0350.
So, yeah, beautiful sounding ATC, by the way, guys. Really, really loving it. It just is so excellent. So, I'm going to leave you guys, and I will come back to you whenever I have travelled. I'm going to come back to you when I get to the Isle of Man, and hopefully there should be some ATC still online by the time... Oh, no, there's not. Okay. Well, let's see what we get. Let's see what we get. Scottish Control might like to pay us some attention.
132.6, good evening, thank you for the service.
Okay, we'll be back later, guys.
Cyberavia, Sierra, Mike Bravo, squawk 03.
Hello, ladies and gents, welcome back. And we have just reached... what are you telling me? Okay. We've just reached the Isle of Man VOR, and if we look on Plan G, we've just made that turn on the end of that leg from Brecon Beacon. That was a fairly long leg. You can see where I transitioned over from the Brecon Beacon to the Isle of Man VOR. That's so you had that little swerve, and then the aircraft reconfigured itself onto that radial inbound. So now we're just flying into Belfast. Unfortunately, all of the ATC for our approach area is all off. So what I'm going to do is on Unicom I'm going to announce myself as I would in uncontrolled airspace. I'm currently not on Unicom because every time I go on Unicom at the moment I get this default air traffic control thing, and it's really annoying. I wonder if there's a way that I can turn that off. If I go to maybe general and I go sound traffic realism. I wonder if there's a way of I wonder if there's a way of completely disabling the default ATC so that I can go onto Unicom without having to listen to this default noise. Anyway, we'll see. So you can see on VATSIM at the moment there's absolutely nothing going on, so I could actually just I could actually unconnect from VATSIM, but I want to have my VATSIM activity tracked for a Pirate for Kicks VFR Club, so I'm going to do that anyway. So we're 4.4, now 4.5 nautical miles outbound from the Isle of Man VOR inbound to Belfast. And what we're going to do based off of the wind is we're going to probably just over Cardiff, take a northerly course overhead Belfast City, and then come around for the ILS on runway 25 at Aldergrove. So our top of descent point is going to be roughly, you know, in around Linga or the Strandford Lock or anything like something like that. But yeah, so it's been a very quiet night. London Control gave me very, very good quality ATC. He gave me a good ATC all the way up until just about there where I passed over and out of his zone, and then he handed me off to Unicom. So very good quality, high level quality ATC work on behalf of London Control tonight, which was, let's see his name, who was he? George Complin. Thank you very much for your service today. So that was good work. So another thing I did while I was in cruise was I sorted out my fuel state, and actually this one of the issues with starting the aircraft in pitch black was I wasn't able to see my fuel levers down on the floor. And of course, if you are a regular flyer of the Comanche, you will know, and it just needed me to, you know, re-jog my memory. So I've turned in the daylight. I just changed the daylight to the time in the time preview. You can see where you can change the tanks to feed from the main tanks to the tip tanks. So that's what I've done. So both tanks are being fed from the tip tanks, and currently you can see both tip tanks are roughly 50% gone. So you can see if I change from both of them, you can see both are reading 50, and I had only burnt, I don't know, maybe a tenth of each main tank, so that's no problem there. So now we are actually currently, yeah, let's go back to high track on the nav mode, just like so. Should be no change there, but that should be fine. Yeah, so I've had very, very little issue with icing or anything like that. It's all been very good. I think maybe in the config file for the Comanche, you can select the lighting to be dynamic lighting, run in the dynamic lighting engine, and that's where you would have your beacon light and your strobe light actually flashing, and you would actually see that. But that's something, unfortunately, I haven't done since I started up the sim. So that's something I'm going to just have to deal with, you know, pretend the strobe is actually flashing when it's not. But so currently -6 degrees Celsius. So we've dropped a degrees in Celsius since we left Cardiff. You can see us tracking in towards Belfast here. So not much to report until we get to the top of descent, which is going to be relatively soon. Not much to talk about, so I'm just going to come back to you whenever I hit the top of descent. Okay, ladies and gents, we've reached the top of descent. So what we're going to do is, you can see the cruise. We don't really have a checklist for top of descent. The next one we have in our scratch pad is approach and landing. So what we're going to do simply is we're going to disengage the autopilot, or no, sorry, disengage the altitude hold, and throttle the engine back a little bit. Let's throttle the engine back to 16 inches on the manifold, and you should then see our vertical speed begin to drop. And because the trim of the aircraft has not been changed, we will pitch for, okay, let me get this right. Pitch for speed, throttle for, what is it? Pitch for, oh, I can never remember which way it is. Is it pitch for speed, throttle for altitude. Or, I don't know. I'm not on my brain at this point. Sorry. No, I'm not even gonna try. Yeah, that concept that I've never fully understood or appreciated. Pitch for speed and throttle for altitude, or throttle for speed and pitch for altitude. Whatever. So you can see in pulling back the throttle, we are only descending that much. We really need to be descending about 500 to 1,000. So I'm going to pull that back to 10, 11, 12 inches on the manifold. And yeah, there we go, dropping right the way through 1,500 to 2,000 feet per minute. And the speed's going to come up, so that's going to yo-yo back and forwards a bit and then stabilize. Yeah, that's just going to yo-yo back and forwards. So let's just add in a few inputs in the controls. Now, the aircraft is still being held by autopilot on the radial, but I'm just pushing and pulling with the yoke to influence our... Okay, let's actually introduce some trim here. Let's do some downward trim. There we go. Coming down through 9,000 feet. That's all good. Okay, so let's keep it at 1,000 feet per minute descent rate. You can see we have now come across into mainland Northern Ireland, almost to overhead Cardiff, where we'll turn direct north. So let's just change the heading indicator to due north, so that we're ready for pressing the button. So we are 44 nautical miles away from the Isle of Man, so it is at this point that we should bring in the VOR is correction, the ILS is 109.9. So let's do that. 109.9, and that's ready to go into the autopilot. Should we say at this point? Yeah, at this point let's go heading hold, and then let's change over to our ILS. You can see there's some light through the clouds there. That's Belfast down below. So what we should do now is the localizer is 251. So let's set 251, 258, 7654, 251 is set. And let's just bring in, as we continue descending, let's just slowly bring in a little bit of mixture. And let's not drop like a stone here, guys. I'm a little bit uncoordinated on my descent procedure in this sort of system. I'm less familiar with this autopilot system than I am with the Cessna autopilot systems, which I find much more logical and much more accurate, and a lot less potential for error. Okay, so now we've come down below 10,000 feet. Let's bring on our landing lights. So you'll see that there. So there's the lights of Cardiff below us, most likely. I think it's probably Cardiff. Let's just... Yeah, no, it's Belfast at this point. So let's turn heading... let's turn 330, because we don't want to fly... we want to like overfly the runway of Belfast rather than fly in towards the approach. That would be a bit stupid, so let's do that. So let's see if we can intersect and cross over. Not that there's anyone else out here at the moment, but it's good practice. Okay, so if we refresh VATSIM, you'll see there's no one else out here. We'll make our first call on Unicom for Aldergrove traffic as we approach the end of the ILS. So that's all good. So I'm back on Unicom yet again, and that default ATC voice has stopped coming up, so that's fine. Okay, so now that we've plugged in a now we've plugged in a localizer with a glide slope, you can see the glide slope meter or the glide slope indicator has become unlocked and it is actively moving. You can see we are gradually descending fast enough that we are going to be under the glide whenever we get to the end of the glide slope. So that's the airport just below us. Is that right? Yes, that's Belfast Airport just below us. You can see the terminal there and the runway there. Very nice scenery. I do like Belfast. And there's the two cranes, David and Goliath. They were the ones that, the Harland and Wolff cranes that they used to build the Titanic in the dock there. So the Titanic was built in Belfast, and its maiden voyage was from Southampton, but it was built in Belfast. So important distinction, important to make that known. Coming down, still 1,000 feet per minute, just getting my feet on the rudder pedals, now coming down through 3,000 feet. Mixture's going up to 75%. Actually, we'll go mixture full at this point. We're continuing our descent and off with, oh no, that's what I wanted, on with track R. If we look to the right, you can see down, there's Carrickfergus Castle. There's that's Carrickfergus right there, and if you look further on, you go out towards Whitehead. I used to live in this area, so even in the dark, I can kind of see where I am. Okay, so we want to. So that's 2,500. So we really don't need to. Let's go manual. At this point, there we go. We don't really need to go under 3,000 at this point. Let's put the propeller to max. So propeller and just reset track IR. My propeller and my mixture are both to max now, and just flattening out so that we don't descend any further. We don't really need to descend any further. Let's just go over to the standard barometric pressure, or correction, local barometric pressure of 1008. Just by hitting the B key, we have an automatic. And we realize that we are coming close to 2,000 feet, which is a little bit lower than we really need. And off to my left-hand side, I can just see the runway off in the distance. You can see it there. So we're going to get ready for our localizer. We're going to watch our localizer. So Aldergrove traffic, Golf Alpha Romeo X-Ray Golf, moving to engage the localizer, runway 25. That was not standard phraseology, 25. Yeah, runway 25. That was not standard phraseology, but I am a little bit rusty on Unicom, on voice Unicom. I think most people are rusty. So it's just, but you know, you make yourself heard. That's the localizer right there. Let's make our turn. And there we go. Aldergrove traffic, Golf X-Ray Golf, localizer alive and established, 25. Okay, so there is my call. Let's just bring up our approach. Autopilot is off. Fuel pump. Let's turn on the fuel pump. Fuel selector is desired tank. Yep, they're both on tip tanks, but let's actually put them over to wing tanks. Oh, I can't even see them. They're fine. Yeah, no, I've got plenty of fuel still left, so let's just leave them there. Is that really the localizer? Is that really 251? Are you serious? 251. Okay, fine. Doesn't look like it from where I am, but let's do it. Okay, we're on the glide. Okay, mixture is rich. Fuel levels, check. We did check that. Gear is down. That's the next call. So let's bring the throttle all the way back to the beep noise, and let's bleed some speed. Let's bring in the trim. You can see down with the gear. Yeah, there's something wrong with that localizer. It should look more like, well, it should look more like that, but I'm going to leave it where it says it should be. It looks off, but I'm not going to bother about that now. I've got where I need to be. Okay, so that's there. 1 notch of flaps. Okay, reduce speed to about 120 mile an hour. Gear is down. Gump, let's check. So let's check our T's and P's. And we've just blown through the localizer again. While I was looking, oil temp's good, oil pressures, or fuel pressure's good, oil pressure's good, fuel is good, so we're all still good. Downwind flaps 1/3, base 110 mile an hour, 2/3 flaps. I'm on final, so 90 mile an hour and flaps down. So let's just come below 100 knots. Oh my goodness, so that localizer needle is screwed. I don't know what's going on there. And I screwed up my glide slip as well. Aldergrove traffic, Golf, X-ray Golf, short final, runway 25. Okay, and then just double check that the gear is down, and oh, okay, someone on text. Okay, right, well that's better now. That's better. Okay, full flaps, and we've got really good frame rates tonight, so I'm expecting. You should be expecting great things. You should be expecting a good smooth touchdown with good frame rates. So that's good looking profile. That's my approach and landing checklist is complete. Let's just go to the rollout, or after landing for when we need it. Okay, our glide is looking better. Our glide is coming back in. So, you know, before we hit 500 feet AGL. Oh, why did my... Okay. Just disappeared again. Oh, I see. Right, I'm still under the glide. I'm still roughly within limits. Only just. Okay, trimming down to almost 80 miles an hour here. I can see that there's a slight crosswind, but nothing to worry about at all. So, looking good, looks good, feels good, smells good. Okay, bringing the throttle right the way down now. Transitioning, like bringing the ailerons, the elevators up slightly, holding the nose up, trimming a little bit. Right, that's right where we want it. Bring in the rudder. Remember that we have rudder, flare. Let's get that stall warning horn. No. You know, that was a beautiful touchdown. I really enjoyed that. But, and there's a taxiway off to my right hand side. But I very rarely hear the stall warning horn whenever I touch down. Maybe I should. I know in real life, a lot of pilots in GA aircraft, you will definitely hear the stall warning horn just before you touch down, and that's the sign you know you're going to have a good angle of attack, good main gear contact, and nose wheel, and you know you're in the right envelope of speed there. But okay, off with the fuel pump, off with the strobe light. More importantly. Trim, neutral, mixture, lean for ground operations. Fuel pump off, mixture lean, yeah. Okay, so we did that, that's good. And let's just taxi over to the GA apron. Actually, I don't quite know where the GA apron is here. We are 6 degrees Celsius on the ground at night, so that was a good flight, guys. I enjoyed that. Unfortunately, we didn't have any ATC as we touched down, but we did use some Unicom calls just to keep it a little bit interesting there. And I'm not actually 100% sure whether... the GA, I remember, is on the other side of the airfield. I'm so used to flying on this side of the airfield because I'm used to flying here with larger aircraft. That's a bit difficult, but that's okay. We'll just taxi off to the right-hand side here and just sit in a stand. Lovely aircraft, guys. I don't appreciate the Cherokee as much as I should. The Cherokee and Comanche by A2A, two excellent aircraft, and I highly recommend, if you've got either the 172 or the 182 by A2A, you really need to pick up one of these Pipers because it gives you the A2A standard, and it also gives you an appreciation for the way the different systems in the Pipers work compared to the Cessna. So that's always fun. Oh crap! Actually, I should probably need those. Those are actually quite helpful still. We'll just park over in a corner here. So, fellas and ladies, thank you very much for watching. This was a video done without using live stream. I felt the channel is long needed something like this again, where my attention is not all over the place trying to answer chat, trying to you know, my attention is usually diverted by a lot of other things when I'm doing a live stream versus a non-live stream video where it's just me, ATC, and I can talk with you. So, alright, let's go. Shut down. Radios are the first thing to turn off. So off with the radios, off with the transponder. Mixture, off. As soon as the engine starts to quit, master switch to off. Like so, master switch. And then the mags, as soon as the prop starts turning, mags go off. Rotating beacon, lights go off. And that's all good. Pitot heat off, of course, as well. And at that point, we then turn, well, the APU should have been off, the master, that should have been off. But we still have, we have a light up there. But that light is, it has a separate switch, I think. Let's just see. Flood. Oh yeah, there you go. Okay. Sweet. Alright, and there we are at Belfast. Late at night, no one else here on VATSIM. So, thank you very much, guys, for watching this video, and I will come at you with some more content of this ilk again. I'm looking forward to getting back into this sort of more targeted content that's not so casual and haphazard and slapdash like a live stream usually is. Although they're fun, but these videos need to start coming and the quality needs to start coming to the channel again. So thank you very much, guys, for watching, and I will catch you soon. Bye.